Hey guys, it's Dominic and Pete with 76 Real Estate. Today we are here to ask the question, is now the right time to sell your rental? We get this question all the time. And we've come up with 3 questions that you need to ask yourself, as an owner of a rental property, is now the right time to sell? So Pete's going to talk about the first reason here. So go ahead, Pete.
So number 1, we're going to talk about your personal situation. And here I'm talking about like qualitative aspects. So ask yourself, how did you get into becoming being a landlord? Is this something you deliberately chose to do, that you still enjoy, you find it worth your time, and you intend to hold these properties long term? Or are you someone who maybe stumbled into this? Years ago, this was happening a lot when folks wanted to sell their homes, they didn't have the equity to do so, and they became what we call accidental landlords. If these are some of the questions you're asking yourself, this may be the right time to sell your rental property. Now, number 2, we want to think about the particulars of your property. Dominic, can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So every property is different. You have to look at the location of your property. What neighborhood is it in? What kind of fix-up does it need? Is it something that needs, it's turnkey, it's ready to sell today? Does it need a little bit of fix-up? Or does it need a complete overhaul? You have to factor that in your decision. If it needs a complete overhaul, maybe the time now is to sell. Or maybe you want to rent it longer term then to make up for it. So those are some of the questions you need to ask yourself. You need to look at the property itself and see how that plays into your decision. The third thing that we're going to talk about is the economics, and Pete's going to talk about that.
So number 3 is just strictly how the numbers break down. So for example, this may have to do with like what you paid for the home versus what it's worth now, what it used to rent for, what it's renting for now, and the particular return on the value of that asset. All of those things are going to factor into whether, hey, this makes more sense to keep it, or based on the numbers, now may be the time to liquidate it. And then you got other complicated things to consider that are more than we can deal with in this video, like a 1031 exchange, if you have capital gains tax that you're going to have to deal with, other things like that. But at the end of the day, you're just going to crunch the numbers and decide whether, based on the economics, this is something you would consider in today's market.
All right, so now we're going to talk about a specific situation with an actual owner and an actual property, actually the property we're standing in right now. So Pete's going to talk about that.
Thanks, Dominic. So we are in one of my listings in North Aurora. So we talked to this seller here and we kind of ran him through the 3 questions that we've been talking about. Regarding his personal situation, he did have motivation to sell his rental. He's been doing this for a long time. He owns a number of rental properties and he's kind of tired of it. Landlording is not necessarily a glamorous or exciting thing to do. It's a bit of a grind and he's ready to move on. Regarding number 2, the condition of the home. This home did have a renter in it. They honestly didn't take great care of it. We came in and we encouraged the seller to do some repairs. At the end of the day, he ended up spending $5,500 and he got refinished hardwood floors, new linoleum, new stove, new paint inside, new paint outside. And it made a dramatic difference for a relatively small investment, and he feels great about the return that he got on that investment. And number 3, of course, is the economics, which was big for this particular individual. He's obviously a professional real estate investor. He needs to know that the numbers make sense. So in his case, he purchased this home for $55,000 8 years ago, and it generated $10,000 in annual income. That gave him an 18% capitalization rate, which is an incredible return on his investment. Fast forward to today, rents did climb from $850 to $1,100 per month, giving him $13,000 in annual income approximately. However, with the market value of the home at $200,000, his capitalization rate has dropped to 6.6%, much lower than the 18% he started with. So that was the final indicator for this particular owner to say, yeah, this makes sense for me to liquidate this investment property and do something different with the funds.
So there it is, 3 questions to ask yourself if you're thinking about selling your rental property.
We do understand that this is a simplistic overview. Everyone's situation is more complex and unique. If you would like to speak with us further, we'll be happy to offer you a 1-hour free consult, no sales pitch, no pressure, to help you analyze your particular situation.
Hey, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.